Welcome along to EXFL Tier 2 Season 11. We're here for round 6. It's the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here at Imola. We've got 10 drivers at the moment. Still waiting for one more to join in qualifying of Grush. And double header in Italy. Next week should have a bit more. But yeah, we're here for Imola. What could be, well, I guess the second last race at Imola. So we'll obviously have 2 seasons per game, and obviously our next game, I'm gonna guess Imola will be. I don't know. Maybe the game developers will still keep Imola like they did for Portugal and whatnot. But at the moment, 17 minutes on the clock. We got GSR Alfie reserving in the RB. We got Dello and Yonder in the Ferrari. It is overcast conditions. Don't know if it's going to get brighter or there's some rain about. We've got Josh heading out of the garage in his Sauber. 3rd race of the season for him. P2 in the opening race. Didn't exactly go his way last time out in Qatar with the 2-stop. Finishing 7th in the end. Adam just overtaking Josh there. P2 and P1 so far this season. As he missed the first 3 races, but the last 2, he's been on fire. 3 wins to his name overall. 2 last season and obviously last week this season. But he's yet to claim a pole position. He's been very close on a few occasions last season by mere thousandths. So maybe today can be the day for the Haas driver. Chubster, P2 in Japan, P2 last week. And that's it, really. He was going to get 6th in Saudi, but crashed with a couple laps to go. So P2 so far for him. Now holds the... I mean, I'm sure for him he wouldn't want to be number 1 in this list, but he does hold the record now for most podiums without a win. His teammate Eggy obviously held that for quite a while before winning the season finale last season. And yeah, Chubster has 6 podiums to his name now, and he is number 1 on that list. Yonder has 5 podiums, so he's number 2 on that list. So I'm sure these two would love to stand on the top step. Samurai, who has stood on the top step on his debut back in the season opener for round 1, leads the championship by 1 point after that dramatic end to the Qatar race last week, where both he and Evan got punctures in the last 2 laps, finished 5th and 6th. And Evan, who's taken 3 of the 5 poles so far this season, looking for a 4th. It's similar style to what we saw for Sam L at the start of last season, where he took 5 poles in the first 7 races, but after that, he didn't really get any more poles, I don't believe. Maybe 1 in 15 odd races. But Evan starting the season off strong. Every race up until last week, whoever was on pole went on to win it. Last week, obviously, Evan took pole. Adam failed his final attempt and started 6th. But that wasn't anything to hinder Adam, who was clearly the fastest that day and came up to win and beat Evan. So now it's Evan's turn to strike back. We have Frosty in the McLaren, hoping for some more points. And that covers everyone. We've still got Frosty and Yonder in the pits. Yonder will head out soon. Half a minute pit lane. This is one of, if not, I do believe, the longest pit lane. Or at least the second longest pit lane of the calendar. Ignoring Britain. This one is very long. There's Grush. Oh, that's great. So yeah, 2-stop is really not the way here. Unless there's safety cars to play with. So Evan, half a second ahead of Chubster for his first run. We'll look at Samurai, who's invalidated into the final 2 corners. Obviously, this game has had a little bit of work done as Josh 3/10 behind Evan. Sizable gaps, that's fine. Yeah, this track has had a bit of work done in terms of the track limits from this game to last game. As Eggy goes 2 and a bit tenths ahead of Evan. Low 15 from him. So, we'll definitely be in the 14s, I'm sure. Yeah, I think I predicted something like a mid 14 as pole, maybe mid 14.4, 14.5, something like that. Dello, I believe, just beginning his lap. The 2 Ferraris at one of their home races, back-to-back home races for the Scuderia. As we see him fly through the second chicane, the RB in front of him, going to slightly hinder him because I do believe Alfie may be on a lap themselves, and we know they're quite a few seconds off the pace, and that is hurting Dello with the dirty air slightly. And it's just one of those cases in Tier 2 as he gets onto the grass there. Alfie goes extremely wide and it's probably going to block him. Pretty much does. Luckily, they don't make contact. But yeah, certain driving styles, as I always see Dello slide off, just keeps it from getting any damage. And that's not going to help his cause. But it's typical. If you're in the RB in Tier 2, you are going to be naturally a few seconds off the pace. Samurai puts in a lap that's 1 second down, but like we've seen so far this season, his first lap usually is a bit off and then he'll go again. And yeah, slower 3, 4, 5 seconds off the pace typically require those kind of driving standards. And when you're only about a second off the pace for Dello, those things can happen where you can catch them up. And while they have impeded you, they're still on a lap, I guess. So Alfie, Dello, Grush and Frosty in the pit lane. We've got Yonder, who's invalidated at the moment. And I think a podium finish would be a great result for one of the Ferraris to get at their home race. Of course, no actual Italians, I don't think, on the grid. So no home races coming up for them. But we are beginning the European stage of the season. We'll start here at Imola, go to Italy, then Spain, then Austria, then Britain, then Hungary, then Belgium, then the Netherlands. And I guess technically we'll finish off with Baku, if that counts. Before we head to Singapore and then over to the North Americas and South Americas. But we've completed a quarter of the season so far, 5 out of 20. So let the second half of the first half begin. And yeah, Eggy currently on provisional pole then by 2/10 ahead of Adam. Eggy as well, who's never had a pole position. Same with Adam. And they're currently locking out the front row. Evan, who you usually expect to be anywhere from half a tenth to half a second ahead, maybe made a mistake. It is obviously very easy to get an invalidation around here. But like I was saying with the track limits, sometimes when you think, oh, they've clearly cut the corner there, not really the case. And you can get away with it a little bit now. But each to their own. I'm still sure we'll expect to see quite a few time penalties come the end of the race, which could decide a few things. Tyre wear is also going to be a very interesting talking point. It should be medium hard, 14 laps, 18 laps, something like that, or the opposite. A 2-stop just seems way too much with the half a minute pit lane. Grush 24.6 in the first sector. Yonder, I think, just beginning a lap there. So wobbly out the exit of the first chicane for quite a few. The second chicane, a bit more smoother, but a lot faster. 24.2 for him, so 4/10 difference. As Grush has just made his way past another slightly untidy area of the track. The long left-hander for Yonder. Now tightly right. And again. Through the uphill, taking it nicely and smooth. You can see, you'd think that would be invalid. It's not. But on last game, you'd get an instant 3-second or something. Grush crosses the line. P7, 2.3 down. So, I mean, he's clearly just got home. Because he only joined in quali. So he'll get more in the rhythm of it. 2 corners to go for Yonder then. We got Josh also on a lap, finishing the first sector. So we'll see what Yonder can do. He's found 16 thousandths, 23.9 as Yonder puts it P8. So these two quite a way off the pace at the moment. Into the 23s in the first sector for Josh. But he is half a second down, so he's got the time to find. Riding aboard with the Sauber. Ferrari engine in the back of his car. Takes it a lot nicer than the likes of Grush and Yonder so far. Middle sector split. 49.8. He's up only by just over half a tenth. So is it the last sector where he's lost all the time? You can see not exactly the greatest run through the third chicane and getting on the power. And we'll see Dello go P5 there. Is that Samurai about to start lap? It is. So Josh, 2 corners to go then. The McLaren just getting out of his way in the distance. And you might get the slightest bit of slipstream. That's Frosty Life about to cross the line. He stays where he is, going again. Josh finds nearly 2/10, but that doesn't improve his position. Keeps him where it is. Evan's still in the pit lane. Eggy's out there. He's done a 23.7 in the first sector. Eggy's absolutely flying, unlike on the likes of we've not seen before from the Mercedes. Look how much curb he's taken. Look at the confidence he has through the corners. He's up by half a second. We've never seen the likes of this sort from Eggy. I mean, the best qualifying performance he's had is the front row of P2 at Silverstone last season, where he was really at one with the car. This is another level, and if you can get it through the final corner, this is going to be well into the 1 minute 14s. Eggy, who's never been on pole position before, will cross the line and set a 1:14.5 to absolutely blitz the field. And like I said, we've never seen this kind of commitment from the Mercedes before. Now we see who can respond. Adam in the first sector split. He's gone even quicker than Eggy, and the track evolution is clear from these two times so far. So a 0.6 for Adam, a 0.7 for Eggy. We see what the Haas can do then in response. These two, who've both never had a pole position in Tier 2, somehow are both the ones fighting. It looks like Evan's going to save his best until the end. And Josh and Dello in the pit lane as well. We carry on with Adam. 0.8 up. This looks even quicker than what Eggy was doing. He's absolutely flying, leaving no room out there on the table. Really wrestling with the track limits there. Using all the track possible. 2 corners to go then for Adam. Takes it very nicely indeed. Gets the power on. 14.5 is the time to beat. This might be a 14.4. May even be better than that. It's a 14.441. And Adam and Eggy are separated by 63 thousandths. Brilliant laps from the pair of them, who are both searching for a first pole in the tier. And at the moment it's advantage Adam. But that is a brilliant lap from Eggy as well, who's in the last few races maybe just lacked a bit of pace, both in quali and the race. But right now, he's in there. Don't know how long's left of the session. I'd assume it's around 4 minutes. We've got Yonder out there. Big corner cut there. Who's down by 3.5 tenths. So he's down in 10th at the moment. I'm guessing Frosty's out of fuel. Hence to why the yellows. Was it like 4 minute 15? 3 minute 50. So, oh, 5 minutes. Jeez. Okay. But the track is definitely ramping up. It's just some people can't get the laps together due to whether making mistakes or invalidations or what. But yeah, the top two certainly had the advantage, and Evan obviously didn't do a second run. I don't think I even saw him out the pit lane, so I don't think he even attempted a second run. He just decided to save a set of softs. Right, nearly everyone in the pit lane, but Grush has headed out there with 4 minutes 30 to go then. And we'll see what he can do. Very consistent so far this season, finishing anywhere from 3rd to 6th or 7th, which has put him 4th in the standings. I may as well read them out before the final few minutes happen. So yeah, like I said, Samurai, who's currently down in 7th, leads the championship, 1 point ahead of Navik, 73 to his 72. 12 points behind is Eggy, so it's looking pretty good for him at the moment. 9 points ahead of Grush, who's down in 9th, who's 8 points ahead of Adam. So the top 5 covered by 30 points. 3 points behind Adam is Kobe. That's Alfie, who's retired from the session. So with 3 minutes 40, that's it. They will start last. Behind Adam, 3 points behind is Kobe, who, like I said, will be missing quite a few races due to some surgery or something he's having. An operation, that was it. So I hope that all goes well and he's recovering. Yeah, Kobe should be back around the halfway stage of the season, maybe just before, maybe just after. 4 points behind Kobe is Chubster, who's currently in 6th, who's 9 points ahead of Yonder, who's had a P3 and a P4 to his name so far this season. 3 points ahead of Josh, who's in 4th, who's level on points with Frosty Life. who's 10 points ahead of Dello, who's 1 point ahead of Nathan, who's 5 points ahead of Charlie and whatnot. Constructors-wise, Williams lead, 113, 17 points ahead of Mercedes, but obviously it's going to be a 2v1 for a few races, so this is Mercedes' chance, especially after last week when they got that double podium due to those punctures to gain. Aston, 24 points behind Mercedes, a bit of a one-man team again with Evan. Charlie, once again, just doing a Charlie and not showing up. We got Red Bull, 51 points, all 51 of those scored by Grush. So a bit of realism there. 1 point ahead of Haas with Adam. Warren, I think he's got some issue with his wheel or something. That pretty much sums up the important ones. Grush has started his lap. The Mercedes gets out of his way. And I'm pretty sure there'll be time for him to do his lap. Everyone else on an out lap. So Grush then on his lap. Is that Chubster? Yeah, 1 minute 47. So they will all have plenty of time to do their final run. We'll see Josh crossing the line to start his final run. Then we see the Ferrari. That's either Dello or Yonder. It's Yonder. And then we see the Haas of Adam. Grush down by 3 seconds in the first sector. So he will probably have to save his battery and try and go again as Dello starts his final run. We'll look at Adam then. Is he going to extend his advantage to Eggy? It always looks like they are going to get invalidated at that exit of the chicane on the right-hander. But it's just enough. Through the second chicane, giving it absolutely everything. A little wide, and that's invalidated for Adam. He was 2 tenths down anyway. But now it's Eggy's turn to capitalise on that, as Evan will also try and see if he can find a whole second. What about Josh? 1.8 seconds down. So it might be P4 for him at best. Eggy's going to cross the line with his teammate. They're going to be the two last over the line, the two Mercedes. So what about Evan? He's up by 3.5 tenths. Big slide out of the hairpin, but he's 2 tenths down in the first sector, and that slide is not going to help his chances. Eggy into turn 1 then. Let's see how committed he is. Can he find the 63 thousandths in what is, I think, his 56th Grand Prix in EXFL Tier 2? No pole positions, but he's had a win. And now he's hungry in qualifying, slightly down on his time, but he knows he can find some elsewhere. But as for the rest, Adam, will he go again with 12 seconds to go? What about both Ferraris? Dello goes to P3, and will Yonder try and go again as he backed off? What about Samurai, who's slowed down? Samurai, he is going to start 7th, the championship leader. What about Eggy? Has he found time? No, he's slightly down. He's found 8 thousandths, but now he needs a whole 10th in this final sector to claim his first ever pole position. Evan has only gone within 3 tenths. So it looks like we are going to have a new pole sitter in Tier 2. But is it going to be Adam or is it going to be Eggy? 1 corner to go then for the Mercedes. And has he done enough? He needs to find a 10th. This would be a brilliant last final sector. He comes across the line. Eggy's done it by 8 thousandths. He's found the 10th he needed. And for the first time, Eggy could be on pole. Unless someone else delivers. All right, Yonder, equal in his first sector, has found 3 tenths in the second sector. Adam is not finding the time, unfortunately. And look at those margins. And Josh will cross the line. Will he stay 5th? Can he get it up to 4th? He does get it up to 4th by 26 thousandths ahead of Dello. And Yonder should be the last one to cross the line. Where will he put his car? 6th. Ferrari, 3rd row. Samurai, the championship leader, down in 8th. With Evan up in 3rd. But for the first time in Tier 2, it's been a long way coming. And by 8 thousandths, the slenderest of margins. Adam's used to this. And I'm sure he'll get his first pole soon enough. But Eggy has done it. Finally, in Imola. And that's one more to tick off. And that's definitely the closest margin for pole we've seen all season. So yeah, Eggy becomes Tier 2's... oh, wrong one. Eggy... Eggy becomes Tier 2's 69th different pole sitter. The record for most races before first pole is 96 by Seb. So Eggy will slot in second on that list. Because second's 52 and I believe Eggy's on 56 or something. Yeah, overcast once again. Qualifying started overcast. It went sunny. So I'd assume it'll stay like this or repeat the same because I haven't heard anyone say anything about rain. But yeah, what a great qualifying session. Dominated by two men. Swapping times. And yeah, by 8 thousandths in the end, Eggy had it. Down by 38 thousandths in the first. Found 8 thousandths to only be down by 300ths. And improved by 71 thousandths. So overall, he found 101 thousandths in that final sector, the 10th he needed. Or it may have actually been a 10th dead on, because as much as it said 8 thousandths, in the actual thing it said 9. So I think it was bang on 1/10 he found in those 4 corners. That third and very scruffy chicane, and then those 2 left-handers. Anyway, we have the formation lap to begin us, and Eggy for the first time will lead it. Alright, let's see what tyres people are on. Bit of a mix. Last week everyone was on mediums. But this time round we have Eggy on the mediums, Adam on the hards, Dello on the hards, and Samurai on the hards. So he's going to look to go long into this race, starting down in 8th. I don't know in terms of Qatar levels if being on the slower tyre is going to cost you that much. And Dello's also taking the chance, and Adam too. So Eggy, you'd assume, should get off the line pretty well. But third isn't a bad place to start in Imola either. So you could see Evan potentially get in the slipstream of Eggy and get ahead of Adam. And who knows, if he gets that good of a start, could he challenge Eggy into the lead? As if they finish like this, clearly Evan will take the lead in the championship. 1 point separates them. Again, we haven't heard any of them say any rain about. But look at those clouds. So are some trying to go to a rain period? I'm not too sure. But like I said, it should be a simple medium hard. Well, I say simple. The tyre wear could be quite interesting. As that's very wide. That's into the gravel for Eggy. He's just trying to get some temperature in them. Here we go then. Eggy lines up on the grid. He's going to make sure to turn right so he's not going straight into the grass. Smart thinking from him. He's going to go straight forward, past both kinks, so he doesn't have to move the wheel. And Adam there as well. And Evan can see what Eggy's doing. And the rest slot into their grid slots. Grush, then Frosty. Alfie already in their grid slots, so just waiting for Frosty then to line up. And the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix in Tier 2, Season 11, can begin. As we wait for the 5 lights to signal the drivers and begin the 32 laps ahead here in Italy. It's lights out and away we go. Good start from Eggy, clearing his path as Evan, like predicted, gets ahead of Adam. Big crash in the back between Chubster and Dello already as we head into turn 1. One Mercedes at the back, one Mercedes leads, and around the outside Adam tries to get back ahead of Evan, but it's not worked, and he's spun, has P2, so Evan leads them out ahead of Eggy leads them out ahead of Evan, then Josh, then Yonder, Samurai up to 5th, Frosty Life up to 6th, Grush 7th, fighting away with Alfie in 8th, and Adam tried the Max Verstappen around the outside. It did not work on Evan. And, well, we only saw one angle of that, so we'll have to see it again. But whatever the case, that's left Adam, Chubster, and Dello all down the field. Chubster missing both his left and right end plates, and Dello missing quite a lot of his wing on the left-hand side. I think Adam has just gotten away with any damage, but that is a disaster start for him. So we look at most positions gained. It's Frosty Life from 10th to 6th. And yeah, Eggy, he got the start he wanted, and it all happened behind him. We didn't even go 100 meters before Chubster and Dello came together. And then Adam tried a move on him, as we see Evan close to Eggy, but not close enough. And they're single file the top three. Yonder up to fourth, but over a second behind already. This allows Samurai some leverage to stick behind a medium runner. Then Frosty, Grush under pressure. Or should I say out DRS, not really under pressure. Alfie a couple seconds behind. Adam staying out. He knows he's on the hards, so he knows the guys ahead on mediums, their tyres will go off soon, and he can start to gain some momentum. But he's already 8 seconds off the lead. And it looks like Evan's getting punchy. He's getting on with this. He's not letting Eggy run away with it. Eggy, who showed great qualifying pace. Evan, who, in terms of pace, probably had his worst qualifying pace, as that's Garouche going off there with a spin, unfortunately. Oh, he's lost a big part of his wing. Bit of a spin out there on the exit, where Dello is at the moment, who's staying out as well with the damage, so only Chubster ended up pitting. So, DRS for the first time will go to Evan, who's really close and has a lot of battery to use, for Eggy, who's blasting his battery, trying to stay ahead of Evan. Evan now blasting his battery because he's under pressure from Josh, and both of them are closing up to Eggy, but they all stay how they are for now, and that's allowed Yonder to get within a second of these guys, and Samurai. Frosty has been left a bit by those guys, and if they start to battle more and lose time, that could allow Adam to close up. 8.1 has now gone down to 7.3. So Adam clearly getting on with it, and Samurai trying to make a move on Yonder. Same with Josh trying to get ahead of Evan. And at the moment, they stay how they are. But the train is forming. That's allowing Frosty to get back within a second of these guys. No one has really low amounts of battery, to be fair to them. They've got to be really careful through this section not to run into one and the other and get on the power. We see Chubbs to get ahead of Grush, who's exited the pit lane. And that's Alfie already with a 3-second time penalty. Eggy trying to get the gap a bit higher, but Evans in the slipstream. And could we see a change of leadership as Eggy goes slightly wide there, and Evans all over the back of the Mercedes. But watch Josh as well. Bit of lag there. But here comes Evan, now blasting his battery. He's got the DRS, and he's within the slipstream of Eggy. Navik trying to take the lead of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Which way is he going to go? He's forced to go to the outside line. Eggy to the inside. Evan roars around the outside. What a move from Evan, as Alfie's retired in the pit lane, and Evan committed. Eggy gave him the trust, and now Eggy's going to do the same back to him. Round the outside goes the Mercedes. Evan nearly loses it on the exit. Brilliant driving between the pair of them. The trust in one another and the commitment in themselves. And Eggy retakes back the lead. Brilliant stuff. 5.1, all that battling. Adam has gained 3 seconds since lap 2. So I'm sure, like last week... Oh dear, Frosty Life has lost it now. They're all making mistakes towards the back. And that's one less car he has to pick off now. So, for Adam, it's Qatar 2.0. He's P6. Oh. Yeah, so Adam is P6, like he was last week. Now he's got to try and make his way through the field to regain, well, at least where he could have been of P2, which he was. But now, Evan's going to try again. Brilliant move around the outside. This time last lap, and then a brilliant move from Eggy, but this time Evan's a lot closer to Eggy. Oh my god, Evan and Josh both get past Eggy with the help of the DRS, and that was a lot easier for the Aston and the Sauber to make. And Eggy, with pretty low battery compared to the rest of them, could not do anything more, and Frosty's AI has pitted him. So yeah, Evan got Eggy a lot earlier on the straight, and Josh following through with the amount of battery they have, and that's dropped Eggy down to third now. Yonder doing well in fourth. Samurai holding on to these guys, as remember the top four all on mediums, Samurai on the hards, And I'm sure soon enough, Adam will be close to the back of them soon. 4 seconds now. And you can see Evan getting on with it, sliding out of there, trying to get on the power to increase his gap, which is double what it was between when it was him and Eggy. But now, can Josh take the lead? I really don't know if it's Eggy lagging or he's making these mistakes every time he moves weirdly on the exit there. But he's got a 6/10 gap to Josh, who's not blasting his battery, so he knows he won't get Evan this time round. Eggy's only got 20%. But he's keeping hold of third for now. And they stay as they are, the top 5. But Josh letting Evan know he's there. And Adam. Might not be the worst scenario for Adam. He's not got dirty air like all these guys have. His tyres are not overheating. Or his engine. So his tyre wear is not going to be as bad. As for Evan. This is a good place now to be in. Eggy led the first few laps alright. But yeah, that was a brilliant battle between him and the Aston. Had great commitment just later on the brakes, and smooth with it was Evan round the outside of Eggy, and then Eggy took that, understood it, and then did the exact same thing. It was great. And yeah, you can see Adam only 2 seconds behind these guys now. Lap 6 of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Yellow. And that is Grush going off again. Frosty back in his car. And Delo's still out there with wing damage. That's cost him 20 seconds to the leaders. And I'm really curious to see what happened between Chubster and Delo off the line. If they just didn't see each other or they connected. But while Eggy led and Evan got a good launch, as we see Josh take the lead now ahead of Evan. Pretty standard easy move there. So he becomes the third leader of the Grand Prix. But yeah, while we saw Eggy lead and then Evan get past Adam, we just saw a Mercedes and a Ferrari crash in the foreground, I guess. So yeah, that's upset their race hugely. Adam's nearly within a second then. And we can see, yeah, Josh has got low battery too, and Eggy's trying to save his. Doesn't seem like an easy task to save the battery there. Josh drifting through the left-hand corner there. This shouldn't... Oh, that's a bit of a mistake for Eggy there. He might lose DRS. I was going to say, this isn't a bad place for Samurai to be in, considering he can just stay with them, not push his tyres. Yeah, we can see Adam nearly in the second there. Did Eggy get it? I think he just about did. Is Evan close enough? 7/10. Nearly 8. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get him. Eggy did get it. And Adam blasting all his battery, trying to get within, but not close enough at the moment. Oh, Josh is flashing though, and Evan is gaining rapidly, but not enough. See, both Josh and Sven low on battery. Evan looking alright. Yonder's also half on battery, but Samurai at the back, perfectly fine. And now Adam is well within DRS. He's made up for what happened on the opening lap. From just watching it from the off-board, it genuinely just looked like Adam tried to go back round the outside of Evan. Whoa, that might be a warning. Just tried to, yeah, do what Verstappen did. Go around the outside of Evan. There was not really enough room and he got spun. I don't really think Evan spun him, but either way, Adam's nearly made up for it. Because he's going to go long with Samurai, while the top 4 pit around lap 14-ish. And then around lap 18-ish, we should see Samurai and Adam in, unless any of these guys are willing to do a 2-stop. And considering they nearly have a whole pit stop ahead of Delo, you never know. Anyway, back to the front. Evan retakes the lead ahead of Josh. Eggy too far behind to do anything about it. They stay where they are. And Adam can now use this time to save some battery. Shame for Delo. Ferrari's home race. They've always got next week at least. And, well, Yonder's doing a good job up there in 4th. The top 6 all so far so good in terms of penalties. And there we go. You can see Adam's already starting to save his battery now. Frosty, 4 seconds clear of Chubster. As Alfie had a penalty, but they retired. So at the moment, everyone's scoring points. The bottom 4 all made mistakes or spins, so they're quite a way off the rest, who are all in a DRS train. A reminder that Samurai, 73 points. Evan, 72 points. Eggy only 12 points behind these guys. And Josh and Yonder and Adam are rapidly closing in. Especially Adam, but he's at the back of this pack. P2 and P1 so far for him after missing the first 3 races. I'm sure if he did do the first 3, he'd be well in the fight. He'd probably be leading. But Frosty now gets the first 3 second of the top 10. And Evan still holds on to the lead. Eggy's now saved some battery. Lap 10, as that's really close between the top 2. That Josh had to push Evan a bit through the corner. And it must be tough for Evan to save battery while leading. I think Eggy led the first 5 laps, so Evans now led the next 5. So yeah, at the moment the top 4 know these are for position, because in the next 3 to 4 laps they're all going to be pitting. And I will advise, the pit lane is a bit of an interesting one. You start to move right, heading into the pit lane, and bam, you have to slow down for the markup. So speeding pens might be a bit of a common occurrence, because it just happens much quicker than you think. But it is a half a minute pit lane, and considering they now have a half a minute gap to Dello, they won't come out in really that much dirty air. Look how close the top 6 all are. And obviously Dello has that wing damage he just hasn't decided to fix. Could we see a swap? Josh, 6/10 behind. Eggy putting Josh under pressure. He's blasting all his battery, and that's making Josh blast his. And they're rapidly closing on the leaders. And Josh moves this way and that. Just about legal, and he stays behind Evan, but stays ahead of Eggy. Good defense from the Sauber. Yonder just watching his mirrors with those worn mediums, with 2 cars behind him on fine hards. And actually, that's Adam ahead of Samurai now. So Adam got ahead of the Williams. So next up is Yonder. Still not really saved that much battery though for the Haas. And yeah, Adam and Eggy, who were clearly the 2 quickest in qualifying. Evan wasn't a million miles off. And yeah, Josh clearly showing he's got good race pace too. Look at that, Evan, 100%. So he really has backed them up, saved some battery. Now he can get on with it. Oh, that is Samurai going across the grass there. And that could lose him DRS. There's the second. There's the detection point. Samurai has lost his DRS advantage because he's gone straight across. He made a big mistake there. And 6 becomes 5. And that might be a warning as well. There we go then. Lap 12. Eggy putting Josh under pressure, meaning Josh has to try and take the lead from Evan. And is Eggy close enough for a move? No. It's just a swap for P1 and P2 at the moment. Josh, big slide. And thank goodness for the ghosting system, because Eggy was about to take the lead, because Evan and Josh were about to have a big crash there, as Adams got ahead of Yonder as well. So making moves is the Haas, gaining back to where he wanted to be in this race. And wow, big slide from Josh there. And I don't know if it was Evan's lag that just saved him there, but he's gone straight past Josh's slid car. And Eggy's managed to benefit from that too. So he's back up in a second. And now he's in a good position to try and take the lead away from Evan. Remember, these mediums must be screaming by this stage, sliding all about. And it's the rear tyres that are probably causing the most bother. And now Adam, who's on fairly worn hards, but they're certainly no way, shape or form as bad as the mediums, is going to be close to Josh now for the taking. Let's see how close he's getting. Is he going to try a move? No, he's going to stay behind for now. Josh nearly a second behind the top 2, but I believe he was within at the detection point. which is so far away from the actual line. As into the pit lane is Evan. He got it stopped. So now Eggy takes the lead. And Josh is P2. Adam gaining, but with no battery. So stay where he is. And Samurai's managed to close back in with these guys. So Evan blinking first. Pretty early. Lap 12 to 13. He's going to have to go. Wait a minute. Wait, Evan's pitted for mediums. Wow. Oh, that's Josh with a 3-second penalty. I was going to say, Evan didn't do a run in the middle of qualifying. He did a run at the start. He did a run at the end. He saved a set of softs. So, is Evan doing medium, medium, soft? He's doing the 2-stop. He's going to lose half a minute. Can he gain that back? Well, he's done 12 to 13 laps. So, you'd assume he's going to do the same. Take a lap 25, 26. And then in the last 6 laps, he's going to be rapid on those softs. Because he definitely has to pit again. As for Samurai, who's going to do the 1-stop, he's effectively got 20 seconds over his championship rival. So, Evan thinks he can't go to the end. As we see, Adam versus Josh into the penultimate corner. Adam gets squeezed slightly. They make slight contact. They make even more contact, allowing Eggy to get further ahead. And Adam barging his way ahead. It was just fine, as that's a yellow, but Josh heads into the pit lane. That's a yellow for Yonder. There's no way has Yonder got a puncture, and he's just past the pit lane. His rear right looks a bit flat. No, I think he's fine. I do not know what on earth happened with Yonder there, but he was the cause of the yellow, and Josh is putting the hards on, so he's going to the end. You see Evan fly past the Sauber there, who's not even exited yet. What an undercut a lap or so makes. But Josh is going to the end. And he has a 3-second. So it's still looking alright for Eggy. As that battle between Adam and Josh lost him some time. So now Eggy's turn to pit. And this would be the ideal lap to pit. From mediums to hards. Look at that gap that Evan's got. 7 seconds. You never know if he could make it work, to be honest. Half a minute, remember. So, well... That's not exactly half a minute, but it's a start. And Eggy's done well to nurse those tyres. Yonder. That rear left just doesn't look healthy. I do not know what happened to him, if he just lost it and caused the yellow. Eggy's into the pit lane then. Doesn't speed. The top 2 remain. The top 2 on the hards. Now put themselves 1 and 2, not within DRS of one another, so they can't trade, or Samurai can't get close enough to Adam at the moment. Yonder into the pit lane as well. That front left looks dead as well. So they're both going to put the hard compound tyres on. Evan absolutely flying. So where are Eggy and Yonder going to come out in respect to Josh? Looks like Josh will be in between them. It's going to be close with him and Eggy though. Looks like Eggy will just about be ahead, but Josh has the momentum into turn 1, but he's not close enough. So Eggy, 1 lap fresher, and he's still ahead of Josh, who has a 3-second time penalty. So at the moment, Eggy still the net leader, because Evan will have to pit again. Samurai and Adam haven't pitted. So 7.2 seconds is the gap. And you look at that, Yonder 10 seconds behind these guys. Chubster managed to catch up to Dello and overtake him. I'm sure Chubster will have to pit again. Frosty 1.9 behind Grush. Bit of an unfortunate race down in P10. Adam, 1 second now ahead of Samurai, who's closing up to the Haas. So it looks like Samurai's got some tyres saved from being in the train. Adam had to push to close up to the train. So looks like Samurai's getting on with it and is showing his race pace to be much better. They'll pit in about 2-3 laps-ish, and they will start to close in. Frosty Life now, another time penalty. And it's like Josh and Eggy are going to be swapping. That was, seems like Eggy goes a bit wide there on some laps, but it looks like Josh will definitely take the lead. Well, net lead. He gives Eggy so much room as he flies past into P4. For Josh's sake, he's got to hope Eggy gets the time pen. But for Eggy, he knows this is his big chance to close up to Evan and Samurai in the championship and make it a 3-way fight. Adam also knows this. As he's he's about, what, 20 points behind or something? 17-ish? And his plan was to do that today. Not the start he would have wanted, but he's leading the Grand Prix currently. He's 22 seconds ahead of Eggy as Frosty and Dello have a moment. I don't know if Dello just lost it there or Frosty spun him or Dello spun off him. But yeah, bad day gets worse, unfortunately, for Dello. They may as well all go to the end to get some points. Adam, 1.4 seconds now, so he's found a bit of time ahead of Samurai. But their pace seems equal at the moment. Very, very similar levels of battery. They're on to lap 17 now, so one more lap. Evan, who's got the gap to 8.2. And look at that. Josh has actually gapped Eggy by 1.4. So Josh really flying at the moment. And if he wants to win this race, he's got to do so. And gap Eggy by 3 seconds to take what would be a first win for him. And look at that. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Josh is coming alive as we've passed the halfway stage of the race. And Eggy, is he just looking after those tyres? Remember, 1 lap fresher to Josh. So Eggy just knows he has to stick within 3 seconds and he's fine. Evan trying to get on with it. He was 7 seconds-ish ahead. Now he's 8.3, but that is nowhere near the 30 seconds he needs. And Dello, what the hell? Gets ahead of Frosty Life, who has to pit again. Onto the hard compound tyres now. 1.2, Samurai closing by a couple tenths. Adam saving some battery. So allowed Samurai to get a bit closer. Now he's pushing. As that's Frosty and Groosh into the pit lane. 1.8 now. There's a big gap between Eggy and Yonder that these two can come out in. And yeah, they've made it to lap 18. And this should be the lap they probably both come into the pit lane. Evan now 9 seconds. He's going to be very quick at the end. But he's going to be about 20 seconds behind. So all Eggy has to do, make sure he doesn't get warnings. Well, we have a yellow. And that is that just Groosh getting lapped? I think it is. He's just letting Evan get ahead of him. Which is fair. One second between Samurai and Adam. Adam, who has double Samurai's battery, but you can see Samurai probably knows this is... Well, I probably think Samurai is thinking, this is the lap I pit. Let's use all the tyres I have left as Chubbs is into the pits. But he may have pushed a bit too hard. 1.2 now. So if anything, it might come down to their pit lane entry. Who's more committed to shave off time? But you can just see the exit Adam gets. 1.7. Just gets such a run out of the third chicane. Uses his battery, which Samurai does not. Well, he was saving battery, to be fair. They're very level now. But he pits. Samurai stays out one more lap. Very interesting. Samurai's going one more lap then. If he can't handle the tyre wear of the mediums, then he might have to shave off another lap and lose some time. But Adam's into the pit lane. He's going to be very quick on those mediums. See, Josh 2.4 to Eggy now. He's got the pace. So where does Adam come out then? Eggy and Josh have already passed him. There's Yonder. So Adam should be able to be ahead of the Ferrari, who's going to appear in the background. So, Adam, P5. 8 seconds behind Eggy. Well, that's his target. Now he's got to chase him down. And Samurai should come out... But it's going to be close between him and Yonder. For Samurai's benefit, he would want to come out ahead. And it's going to be close. See that? Look at that. Evan pitted on lap 12. And he's only 3 seconds behind Samurai now. That is the difference between really worn hards and new mediums. And they're going to be on really worn hards, a lot of them. And Evan's going to be on softs at the end. And Eggy now gets a 3-second time penalty. So this is looking great for Josh. And even better for Adam. Because he can close up to Eggy more quickly. And be within 3 seconds of Josh potentially. So still don't rule out Adam. This would be a brilliant drive. Back-to-back weeks he's been on the back foot at the start of the race. But now he's in a position to maybe win. Samurai pits for the mediums then. Josh and Eggy have cleared him. Adam will fly by as well. It's going to be close with him and Yonder. I get the feeling Yonder's going to be ahead of him here. And he is. Staying out that long in the race. But he knows his tyres will be in good shape. But look at that. 4.6 seconds. And Adam probably gained about 2.5 seconds. Maybe 3 seconds on Samurai there. Due to pitting 1 lap earlier. And that is not the greatest second chicane for the Williams. So, now he's got to push because Evan will pit. And he's only going to be about 6 odd seconds behind Samurai. So we know when Evan pits, Samurai will be 5th. And oh, there's a 3 second as well. So that's going to help Evan's cause. I was going to say, Samurai will be 5th. Evan will be 6th. 1 point separates them. They stay like that, 3 points. But considering Evan will close up to Samurai and just has to now be within 3, now Evan could take the lead of the championship by 1 point unless Samurai can overtake Yonder and gap him by 3 seconds. But then it may even be a fight for 4th and 5th, which would still be 1 point. And it looks like Samurai's caught Yonder a pretty good place here. Dello now with a time pen. Yonder blasting his battery. Samurai doing the same, but he has the DRS. He has the slipstream. He's not even blasting his battery now. He knows he's going to clear the Ferrari, who doesn't fight him and lets him go. So now these are imperatively crucial laps for Samurai to make the gap as big as possible. Not just to Yonder, but to when Evan decides to pit. And look at that. He's only got it to 9 seconds. Josh absolutely flying. And Eggy, unfortunately, may even lose P2 here because Adam will close up. Now, in terms of the race win, it's just about if Adam can get within 3 of Josh, which right now he's, well, about 9 seconds behind him. So he's got to gain 6 seconds in 11 laps. And he is on the mediums, but like we see with Josh, with Josh and Evan, it's actually not that big of a difference when it gets to this kind of stage. So Adam needs to push, but also not take too much life out of his tyres. Samurai has nearly gapped Yonder by a second. But Yonder will still stick with him as they cross the detection. And remember, Evan pitted on lap 12 onto 13. So lap 24 onto 25 is when I'm assuming he'll pit for the softs, which he saved in qualifying. Clearly these 6 will be the top 6. They're half a minute ahead of Chubster, who's ahead of Frosty, who's ahead of Dello, who's ahead of Grush, who's been lapped by Evan. 10 to go then. And it's looking good for Josh. The strategy, the 2-stop didn't work out for him in Qatar. This time round, it's looking pretty good. But Adam is clearly flying. And he's going to be within 3 of Eggy soon. And considering Josh got a 3 second the earliest, there's still no question that he could get a 6 in these last 10. So he's got to be careful. And hope Adam's tyres start to fall off, which they will. But you can see Josh is now starting to close in on Evan. Half a second this lap. Big slide for the Aston Martin. So it's going to be a big case of if he can stick within 3 seconds of Samurai at the end. I have no doubt that Evan will probably take fastest lap at the end because it's a 17.7 set by Josh on the softs, which is quicker than Evan's fastest lap on the mediums. Josh really, I mean, his qualifying time was like 7/10 off pole, but his race pace has been phenomenal. And Evan now gets a 3 second time penalty. So if he wants to walk away from this race as the championship leader, he's got to overtake his championship rival on track. He'll have to overtake Yonder first, but I'm sure Yonder won't really put up too much of a fight with his worn tyres by that stage. But as for Samurai, he knows what he's got to do. And let's see the gap. 20 seconds. When Evan pits, he's going to be 10 seconds behind Samurai, and he's got to make that up in 6 laps or so. But he's going to be on really fresh softs, which will probably die pretty quickly, against Samurai's mediums, which will also die pretty quickly. So we'll see Adam clearly within 3 seconds of Eggy now. 5.6 off. Remember, it was, 7 or something? So don't rule out Adam from winning this race. He's fairly within 1 second now, but he's used all his battery to get there. So he might not be close enough to Eggy this time round, and he might be able to get him next lap. This could be very crucial, this part of the race. How quickly can Adam get past Eggy? Can he get him down into turn 1? Eggy knows this. He's blasting his battery to keep the Haas away from him. And for this time round, he'll do just that. Look at that. 4.2 now. So Adam, Adam just needs to gain about a second and a bit now. So, does he stick behind? Or will he try it? I think the best thing to do is probably just stick behind. He's got 8 more laps to gain 1 second. You can see him sliding out there, but that's the thing. His mediums are going to wear soon and the hards are going to become better. And the dirt, can't be helping. And he's also got to make sure he doesn't get 3-second time penalties. You can see how much time he's actually lost on this lap. The gap was 4 seconds between Eggy and Josh. It's now 4.8. Adam's managed to save some battery though, and this time around he should surely be able to get him. What about Evan? The gap was 8.4. It's now down to 7.1 between him and Josh. Clearly his mediums are falling off the cliff, and it seems like next lap he should be in, following from what he did. Actually, this lap he should have pitted, but anyway. Adam's a lot closer now, and he has the battery. Now he has the DRS. Eggy immediately moving to try and break the toe. Here comes the Haas versus Eggy. And which way will he go? It looks like he's going to have to go to the outside. Now he switches to the inside versus Eggy. The top two who are on the grid now swap for P3. Good move from Adam there. Committed to the inside. Eggy gave him the room and the trust. And now Adam sets his sight on trying to get within 3 seconds of Josh to take home a 4th Grand Prix victory. Great stuff from the Haas. Eggy placed his car. Adam thought he had to go to the outside, switched to the inside last second. Eggy had to react. And yeah, good driving. It's been some great battling between these guys, including Josh and Evan. And that's 6.2 now. Josh is taking a second each lap now out of him. Samurai extending his gap from 1 second to 2.2 ahead of Yonder, who's still trying to stick within 3 seconds of Samurai by the end of the race. And you can just see Evan really struggling with those mediums. So now he decides to pit. Has to get it stopped. Doesn't speed. All good. And what I would really assume would be the soft compound tyre. He's the only one in the top 6 who's going to try the 2-stop. As Josh takes the lead of the Grand Prix. And there we go. Soft compound tyres for the Aston Martin. He is going to be rapid. Eggy's still sticking with Adam, as that's Frosty Life with a time penalty. So Adam, 3.7 now behind Josh, as he's clearly closing up. But will the mediums last with 6 laps to go? Where is Evan? He's P6. He is 6 seconds behind Yonder, who's nearly outside of 3 seconds of Samurai. So he's 8 seconds behind Samurai. He's got to gain 8 in 6 laps. I thought it would be 10. So, close enough. Eggy's still doing a good job to stick with Adam here. Well, I assumed there was going to be a few 3-second time penalties, and pretty much everyone has got one, bar Adam, Yonder, and Grush. Everyone with a 3. Frosty with 3 3-second time penalties, and unfortunately, Evans just handed himself a 2nd time penalty. He's going to have to be absolutely rapid. Lap 27, and actually, Josh has gained a 10th on Adam. So Adam has to push here. You can see his battery depletion. He's giving it absolutely everything. Josh also giving it absolutely everything. They both know what's on the line here. And the gap's neutral at the moment. Adam needs 6/10. One little mistake, one slide from either of them could be the difference between victory and 2nd place. And now we will see Evan start to gain heaps of time. 8 seconds between them. It's now, what, 5.5? So Evan is rapid at the moment. But this isn't a case of now catching Samurai and overtaking him. It's about catching him, overtaking him, and gapping him. And he's got a car in between. of Yonder. He's going to need to catch him at the right point. And I feel, as he's really attacking the car, the curves with the car, I feel he's going to catch Yonder at the wrong time here. 3.2. 3.1. Adam's nearly there. But we still have 5 laps to go. And this is the point where the mediums are going to become worse than the hard compound tyres. And is he going to work with Eggy if Eggy manages to get back ahead? Or is it going to cost them time? Because he's now within the 3 second he needs. Look at that. No battery for him. Yellow. And that's a Ferrari of Dello off there. 2.7. Grush gets out the way to be lapped. And if they catch Grush at the right time, he could even give him DRS for Adam. Adam searching for a 4th win in Tier 2. Josh looking for a 1st. And like I said, Evans caught Yonder, but to be fair, he's caught him at an alright part of the track. So, 1 down, 1 to go, because I don't really think he'll catch the leaders by the end. Well, actually, to catch Eggy, to beat Samurai, he's going to have to catch Eggy pretty much. And look at that. I said Grush might give them DRS. He just looks a bit over a second at the moment. The detection point coming up. Adam will love if he can be within a second, but right now I think he's just over it. Yeah, that looks to be more than a second. Right, here we go then. Frosty, 4th time penalty. Evan needs to overtake Samurai and gap him by 3 seconds with 4 laps to go. I think it's possible. Finishes like this, Samurai's 3 points ahead of Evan. Evan beats Samurai, he takes the lead of the championship by 1 point. Evan, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 3/10 quicker than what Josh managed on his hard compound tyres. Just showing the great pace that Josh has had in this race. And look at that, 2.1 now. So Adam really sealing the deal at the moment, even if his tyres fall off at the end, to be within 3 seconds. He just has to make sure himself he doesn't get 3 seconds. And it looks like Evan's going to time this right, catching Martin at a pretty good point in the on the track. Another yellow for Dello. But Evan has to make sure he doesn't lose too much if he gains too quickly. But right now it looks alright that he's going to catch him at a pretty good part. And be well within DRS. These next few corners might hold him up a little, actually. Especially the last 2. 2.3. He's nearly gapped Eggy by a second. There is a second, and there's the detection. So, Eggy didn't get it. Evans all over the back. And actually, he could get the detection and maybe overtake Samurai heading into this next corner. But it looks like he's a bit too far back, and he'll play it safe. But now he's got 3 laps to gain 3 seconds on his championship rival. Samurai blasting. Now he stops. Now he blasts again. Now he stops. But it's going to do nothing because Evan is going to fly past Samurai and take P5 in the Grand Prix. Make that P4, should I say. Evan ahead of Samurai. He's in P4 and now he has to try and gap him by 3 seconds if he wants to retake the championship lead. And he's already nearly got 1 second. And speaking of 1 second, it's nearly 1.0 between Adam and Josh. Does Adam want to try and win this on track? Because he's gapped Eggy. And that's the point. Has anyone got any fuel issues? No. 1.1. Adam is not giving up. What a charge from last week to this week. The Ferrari-powered Sauber and the Ferrari-powered Haas. Looks like Josh may even get DRS here from Dello. He will. But I think Adam may have also got it as well. As they're coming up to these lapped cars. Frosty gets out of the way. That's allowed Dello to get ahead. And yeah, they're getting involved with the lap cars now. They're starting the penultimate lap. Josh clearly has the battery to stay ahead on this lap. But come the final lap, will Adam try it? Will he want to win this on track? Or will he stay behind? Will he take the risk? Here we go then. And what's the gap? 2.2 between Evan and Samurai. It looks like Evan's going to get it done. Grush with now a time penalty. Now Adam has to try and save his battery, but still be close enough to Josh who's clearly got his battery sorted out, so he doesn't really have to slow down. You can see Adam's just trying to get him. If he's close enough, the DRS and the slipstream hopefully will be enough for him. And we know Adam is going to win the race, but he'll want to do it on track. And right now, that's exactly what he's been trying to achieve. Ever since he got spun at the first chicane on the first lap, he's driven amazingly. And while Josh has also driven impeccably well with his pace, unfortunately, the 3-second time penalty and his dying hards may pay the price 1 lap too late. As we see Dello and Frosty fighting just behind them. But up in front, we're about to start the final lap. Josh a little hairy out of the final corner. And here comes Adam. Lap 32 out of 32. Josh trying to break the slipstream. Trying this way and that. But it looks like Adam's going to gain and be close enough to take the lead on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Josh goes to the inside. Adam round the outside. He gets ahead before they even get to the corner. This has been a brilliant drive from Adam. And it looks like it's going to be back-to-back victories for the Haas driver. He was spun on the opening lap. And on the final lap of the race, he is now in the lead ahead of Josh. Eggy looks like he'll get P3. And yeah, Samurai over 3 seconds ahead of... Samurai over 3 seconds behind Evan. And looks like Yonder pitted to try and go for fastest lap at the end. So it looks like this will be his attempt. As Frosty... Oh my god, Frosty and Dello fighting away there. For the minor points placers. 1 sector to go then. And Adam showing that you should never give up. And we'll obviously have a look at what happened on the opening lap with him and Evan. But now he's been on a brilliant comeback drive. Back-to-back weeks he's had to put the work in. And Adam round the final corner. It's a brilliant drive that deserves him. With the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, Adam wins in Imola. Josh comes home for another second place. Eggy will take another P3 podium. Evan will now lead the World Championship by 1 point. Consider it... Wait, what? Never mind. Did Evan... Oh, no way did Evan just get another... Eh? Unless Evan made a big mistake on the last lap, which I did not see. Which he actually may have. Samurai's beaten him. Evan, who was nearly 4 seconds ahead of him, must have made a mistake that lost him 3 seconds. Yonder does take fastest lap in the end. Chubster will be 7th, Dello 8th, Grush 9th, Frosty 10th. So Adam wins. Josh P2 like he was in the season opener. Eggy breaks the record for most P3 finishers of 15. His 19th podium. Samurai beats Evan at the moment, I guess. So his 1 point lead goes to 3 points instead of his 1 point lead being a 1 point deficit. Looks like Evan must have made some sort of mistake at the end there. So again, the top two, last week they finished 5th and 6th. This week they finished 4th and 5th. Yeah, great race though. Evan saying his rears slipped away. Well then, that was a very eventful Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Eggy, first pole position, finished third, another podium. He gains on the top two. Adam also gains a lot on the top two. Josh as well on 42 points now, I think. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, let's get the top three in. Hope you all enjoyed that race as well. That was great. And on to Monza next week. Double header for Italy. Josh and Eggy. Well, we'll give Eggy a few minutes to switch to his Xbox. Let me wait for the top two to join. There we go. Right, we have the race winner joining the party. Still waiting for P2 as well, but you there, Adam?
Yeah.
Have you included your audio?
Yep.
All right. Wow. Where to begin? First of all, congratulations. What a drive. Amazing performance there. So yeah, I guess first question, how are you feeling?
Bit surprised that I could win, to be honest. But pace felt strong for me, but I didn't really think I'd have a chance at winning.
4 wins, 0 poles. That is now the record. Most wins without a pole, which I actually hold. So it's nice to share. I think someone else as well, but I forgot their name. But anyway, qualifying, you were swapping a lot with Eggy for pole. Just missed out by 8 thousandths. Was there any part of the lap where you thought 8 thousandths was within it?
I think if I probably could have done it if I managed my battery a bit better, because coming out the last chicane, I was about a second up, and then across the line, I think it was 9.1.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that in the race as well. You do what I do a lot of the time. You just blast down to 0 on the straight. I didn't see anyone really else do that. But if it works, it works. Because, yeah, your pace was certainly enough. Yeah, so the start. You started on hards. So obviously the getaway wasn't going to be as good as those on the mediums. Eggy got a good enough launch. So that allowed Evan to get alongside you and ahead. And then take us through the first chicane. What exactly happened?
Well, I tried to go. I saw he was in front of me, so I started burning my battery a bit more to try and keep position. But I think like just being on hard, I think I just ended up kind of outbraking myself, and I went a bit deep into the corner, and then tried to cut back a bit, and I just spun.
So would you say it was just your own unfortunate error?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, fair. Because it did look like very lately it looked like you went round Evan's outside. Evan turned because you weren't, I guess, far enough ahead alongside, and unfortunately got spun. So yeah, fair enough. Let me just quickly invite the other two again. Josh. There we go. Looks like Josh may have turned his Xbox off or something. We have Eggy join the party, P3 in the race. But yeah, right. So yeah, Adam, you got spun on the opening lap. You dropped down to, I think it was like 9th or 10th or whatnot. You were 8 seconds off the pack. You didn't have any damage, right? No. So then it was just a case of using your tyres to push while the leaders battled. You caught them back up again by the end of before one of them pitted. And then it was just making move after move. You got ahead of Samurai, which I didn't catch. You got ahead of Yonder, which I did catch. And then you fought away with Josh quite a lot in the last 2 corners. Bit of argy-bargy there. And then was the plan always pit exactly lap 18 onto 19? for mediums?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really think I could go another lap or a few more laps actually, 'cause my
Oh yeah, that was what I was
tyres,
going to ask. Yeah, what were your tyres on?
by the time I pitted,
Yeah,
there was over 70%.
yeah, thought so. Also, how many warnings did you get that race?
So
Two. Ooh, when
before
did you get
lap
your
10,
second one? You got two warnings before lap 10. Ah,
yeah.
great. What? Wow. 22 laps of just pushing flat out, trying to get within 3 seconds of Josh at the end. Um, and even overtaking for the win. Proper way to win a race there. At what stage of the race did you think you could win?
Um, Probably just as the medium runners were all pitting.
Fair enough, because you were about when you came out, you were about 7 seconds behind Josh and 5 seconds off Eggy or whatnot. Um, you saw they obviously both had 3 second time penalties, and then when you caught Eggy and got ahead of him, the gap was 3 seconds. At that stage, was there any concern that maybe your mediums would start to become a bit worse than Josh's hards? Or
Not really.
fair enough. And then you closed the gap down brilliantly, and then a bit of traffic on the penultimate lap gave Josh DRS, but then it was a brilliant last lap overtake to cement yourself with your fourth Grand Prix win and snatch away Josh's first win. So maybe he'll get that in another race. But yeah, that is the big 50 points in the last 2 weeks for you, and that certainly puts you up into the top four now with Eggy, Martin, and Evan. So this is certainly looking pretty good for you. Second, first, and first. I will ask, like I do every time, where does this one rank out of your 4 wins?
Uh, Probably second or third.
Fair enough. Yeah, on to double header at Italy. On to Monza now. How are you feeling about Monza?
Uh, I, I feel probably quite strong. That's kind of how I feel for most trucks, though, to be honest.
That's fair. Yep. Well, that first pole is almost there. I'm sure you're no stranger to these few thousandths. There was a few times last season with Sam L, I think Belgium and Netherlands or whatever it was, Hungary and Belgium. It was like 2 thousandths and 5 thousandths, and today was 8 thousandths. So I'm sure that first pole is coming as well. But you focused on the important one of the race, got the points, so very well done.
Yeah.
On to P3 as Josh will take P2. I think he's turned Xbox off, like I said. Eggy, are you there, mate? Have you included your audio? Right, P3. And a first ever pole position in EXFL Tier 2. After, I think, 56 races. About time, but you were absolutely flying in that qualifying session. How was the feeling of the car and just the feeling of your confidence in that qualifying? Yeah, I was paying attention to the maths of the gaps. So you were 63 thousandths behind, heading into the final runs. Adam obviously invalidated his final run at the second chicane, so you were 63 thousandths down. You were 30 thousandths down by the middle sector, so 99 thousandths or a tenth. I just call it a tenth, and you had 4 corners to find a tenth. Which corner did that for you? Oh, maybe it could have been a battery related thing. Maybe you ran out or had just more by the end. Okay, fair enough. Because that was what Adam was saying. His battery management may have cost him the 8 thousandths or whatnot. But still, it's definitely the closest margin for pole we've seen this season, definitely, but in a few races. The start was great. You got away from the mayhem that happened behind you a little. And then lap 5, Evan was close enough, and then we had that brilliant battle between you and him. Evan soared around your outside at the first chicane, and then you did exactly what he did and soared around his outside at the second chicane. I'm sure you must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. There was also a bit of lag, but
I noticed that as well. Yeah.
yeah, in that situation it was fine.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, then he overtook me, and I thought there's no real need to push because, as you told me last week, I was pretty bad. So yeah, I just waited a bit.
Mm. I'm going to assume it was Evan lagging a little, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Even on the stream, he was moving a bit weird, so it may have just been a bit of lag, unfortunately. But didn't do too much. So yeah, he led, and then Josh also got involved, and there were a few swaps here and there. And then there was a moment where throughout the first chicane, Josh lost the rear, and I think thanks to Evan's lag, he managed to ghost through him, and then you also managed to get ahead. Is that what happened from your POV?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then you lot pitted. You saw Josh had the 3 second penalty. Um, but I'm guessing at that stage were you just trying to save your tyres because he just looked rapid on those hards at the first in the first few laps.
Yeah, I messed a bit up on start of my hard stint. I
Mm.
mean, all the warnings I've got were like within the first two laps, and yeah, I wasn't able to keep up.
Yeah, and then you obviously had got your 3 second penalty, and Adam was closing in. You tried to defend, and then Adam was just close enough, and you stuck with up until the final few laps where you lost quite a few seconds. Were you just trying to save the tyres, or like what were your tyres at the end?
Uh, Something like 50, 60,
All right, fair. You obviously,
charging the battery a bit
yeah,
because Evan was also coming, but
yeah. I was about to say you had Evan
okay,
closing up. Did you see or notice Evan do something on the last lap? Because it seems like he lost some time.
no, I
No.
just saw the gap and increase.
Ah, okay, fair. Yeah, I need to look back at what happened because he somehow lost 3 seconds or so. I don't know. But as for you, I don't know if you saw in the honourable mentions. This is your, I think it's your 19th podium or 20th. I'm pretty sure it's 19. But last week you obviously got third as well. That was your 14th P3, which equals the record, and now you own the record of 15 P3s. You just a
Very
very nice. Yeah. But I think the more memorable thing today was that pole position and an amazing place to get it. It was unlike anything I'd seen from you so far. So a brilliant qualifying for you to get your first pole. It was great. Still walked away with P3. Still walked away beating the top two in the championship. So you closed that gap even more. Uh,
nice.
12 points behind heading in. So you're only 9 points behind now. So that's great. And Adam winning, I'm sure he will close up a lot. So it's pretty much a four-way fight at the moment. You, Adam, Evan, and Samurai. Evan obviously opted. Actually, question for both of you. When you saw Evan pit lap 12, A, did you know he was doing a two-stop? And B, were you surprised he did a two-stop?
Um, well, not really, but I think it's a bit surprising that he done a two stop because I mean, like how long the pit lane is and all that.
Mm.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, the fact is,
I mean,
the fact that he only finished a few seconds off you, he gained quite a lot, to be fair.
yeah,
But
those were pretty good.
yeah, they were rapid in the first 3 laps, but then they completely died at the end, which is probably what we were all assuming. So yeah, well done on P3. Oh yeah, and how are you feeling for Monza next week?
Oh, last season was good, I think, but in this game maybe a bit more average.
Mm. Last season was you, Josh, and Warren, right?
Oh, yeah, I just remember that big DRS train.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll be the. I mean, it was a bit of a train today with the top six, so it might be the same next week. Will be interesting though. I mean, there was some great battling. I think the highlight of that race was your Evan overtaking you and then you overtaking Evan again. That was great driving. Also, Adam's move on you was pretty fun because you were in the middle. It looked like Adam had to go to the outside and then he last second switched to the inside. Did you just think then, right, I'll just give him the space, or he'll just brake later anyway.
Yeah, I tried. Maybe I can switch back, but
Yeah.
did that pretty good.
All right, fair enough. And once again, well done to the pair of you. Great stuff so far. On to round 7 next week at Monza. That has been the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, round 6. It looks like Samurai, right at the end, managed to keep hold of his championship lead and extend it from 1 point to 3 instead of lose it by 2, which would give Evan the lead by 1 point. We'll find out what happened there. I'll also want to look back at what happened at the first chicane with Evan and Adam. At the moment, it just seems like Adam made a mistake on his misjudgment, so that shouldn't be anything to worry about. So yeah, moving on to round 7 at Monza in a week's time.